Hello all. Uh, it's another time again for us to meet for part 3 of our series on teenagers on drugs or with drugs and substance abuse. My name is Violet Basar, fellowship at AGC Church. I belong to the women ministry, and we've been running this series because we need to understand what is happening with our children and how we can walk with them through the journeys of struggles because of the exposure or because of what is happening to them as they grow. Because as we grow, we have milestones and phases in life, and some phases we tend to get involved with some things which work against us. So today, in our part 3, and it's the final part of this series, is about now after we discover that our teenager is on drugs or is abusing the substances, what do we do? Do we watch them and say that's their problem? Or do we say, as parents, we may say the church is to take care of that, or the church says it's the parent, or the community says the school says it's the parent. Are we going to keep shifting on who is responsible, who should take care? But now it's each one of us' responsibility. But the first person to be responsible is the parent, because a parent or a guardian, we have been given responsibility by God to take care of our children. And God has made it possible for us to understand and know what are our responsibilities of our children that they have gifted to us. And if we are guardians, it means we have taken over a responsibility to take care of these children and make sure they grow up into mature and responsible adults. So, first and foremost, I will address the parent and guardian. If you discover, or if you have not discovered, what would you want to know? That if my child does this, what do I do to discover or to know if he's on drugs or not? So, first and foremost, as parents, we need to be having a good relationship, a talking relationship, friends relationship as a family. It becomes very easy for us to discover when there's a deviation in our children's behavior. So first and foremost, if a parent or a guardian discovers there's something that is not right, like in the last part 2, where we covered about the signs and symptoms of a teenager who is abusing substances, what do you do? First and foremost is to initiate a conversation. But as culture dictates, most of the times what we have always done is we lash at our children. We become harsh to them. And then we become judgmental. We start just accusing them outright. You must be on drugs. You must be taking this. You are in somebody's company. I saw you. See, but if you have a good conversation, and if it has been built on a friendly conversations you've been having with a child since they were young and as they're growing into their teenage, in their adolescence, it will become very easy for you to strike or initiate that conversation with the child whom you are suspicious of. And the best way is to be outright with your conversation. You may take him out, what you're used to doing, or you may just go to a study or go out there in the garden or in the shamba and start talking. Maybe you're taking care of the cows, and then just ask your teenage girl or boy, and just ask, have you been using drugs or alcohol? This is normal. I appreciate you are growing up, and these things, we've been there. You strike the topic like it's something that is somehow expected. so that it does not look like I'm caught. So let me be defensive. So when you start by saying, have you been taking drugs or taking alcohol? Or maybe just change the question and say, has anybody offered you any drugs or any alcohol? Because this is an age where there's a lot of testing of things around. Because I'm sure if you will have built a relationship from behind, it will be very easy for you to bring out this question, and the way the teenage is going to pick it up, she or he will pick it up in a way that they are used to picking up the questions as you have been handling each other. But if you have not been having that cordial relationship of having conversations, it may also elicit a negative response, but it should not worry you. Just be firm and ask the child, I am your father, I am your mother. Can we talk about drugs? Can we talk about alcohol? Can we talk about this substance? I know they are being used in schools. I know they are being used in this village. So it will make the child to come out either way. So if the child admits, because if you have been very free with each other, definitely the child is going to admit and say, okay, I have tested. A friend gave it to me. We went for sports last term when we were in school, and we were given something, if it's alcohol or if it was bangi or if it's cocaine, because all these things are within our community. So when the child admits, the first reaction to a parent or to the guardian should not be like getting shocked and starting being harsh to this teenager. The best thing is probe more. When was this? How did it feel? Or for how long has it taken you? Do you think what you are doing is right or wrong? But most of the teenagers will have already known, so he will jump and say, yes, dad, I've done it, but I know it's not right. But it was because of the pressure from my friends or from my neighbor, from class, whatever reason they will give. So that way it will help you to get to know that your child is taking, and do it in a friendly way. Be a friend to your child. Let's be friends to our children. It will be very easy for us to discover most of these things, like some of the signs and symptoms I mentioned in our last part about the appearance, the bloodshot eyes, the pupils, and what have you. It will be very easy if you have been friends to notice. So you can also always say, but I can notice your eyes are not the normal eyes I'm used to. So if she accepts, then support, emotionally support this child. Then let them talk about it, discuss. Then after that, you can ask the child, how can we help? Do you need help? Let the child also come out with the answer, whether he or she needs help, or she wants you to walk with him or her in this journey, which we'll talk maybe later about how you can do it. But if the child denies, because there are those ones who already know, once I say, I'm using it, I know my dad, I know my mom, the next thing is a beating, the next thing I'll be locked out, the next thing it will be 1, 2, 3. So it will be, I have never tested, I don't know how they look like. Because they already form a way of protecting themselves. As they do it in a group, the groups also know how to discuss, especially when they're initiating the new ones, on how to behave when you are caught. So if this teen refuses, what you do as a parent or as a guardian is to reassure this child and tell him or her, I am your father, I'm your mother, I'm your guardian. I'm just concerned because I've noticed you have this. Nowadays, you lock yourself up so much. Nowadays, you want to accompany us when you are going out. Nowadays, your eyes are very red. Now, I know those are the signs and symptoms. I know we have covered this with you before, or in school you have been taught this. So you reassure the child and tell them you're just concerned as a father, you're concerned as a mother. You're concerned as a parent, as a guardian. You're concerned as a pastor, because some of this can happen in church. Maybe the parents may feel it's only the pastor who can approach my son, my child. So as a pastor, it's also a way of just telling them, okay, we are here to help you. We are here to stand with you. We are here to pray with you. And if he continues or she continues to deny, then you have no option. What we'll do, then we'll have to seek for professional help. Now, professional help, we are there. I know we have so many skilled professional counselors around Kenya, around the world. In Kitale, where I'm talking from, also, we are quite a number. So we can go and seek for professional help, talk to the professionals. I have discovered my son, my daughter is, then enumerate, tell this therapist what the child is showing, what you have discovered. And then from there, they'll be able to book in your child and start a journey, because we call it journeys. We do journey with your child on the drug and substance abuse. So if now then we have discovered, okay, the one who has accepted, the one who has denied, but we have the professional who has come on board, and the child has actually agreed he or she's on the substance. How do we handle it? We have two approaches. First one is a family-based approach. Family-based approach is, as a skilled professional myself, I will not work with this teenage alone. Because working alone with this teenage, they will take, like the way they will take, we take education. Because with education, I'm taking it alone. Because like myself, I didn't do music, my child did music. So when she comes and tells me she's doing music, I'll support the child by paying fees, buying what they need, and do the music. So now this child has come, has this problem. It is our problem. Now, it's not like education whereby you are putting you in school, you study. Now, it's our problem as a family. So we need to stand with this teenager. And how do we stand, and how many of us is the whole family? Parents, siblings, and if possible, if they are peers. We you know, in the communities we have the peer groups, and you find our children always like having those groups together. So this will help this teenager to know that I am not alone. I'm loved. I need to work on myself. I need to accept. So when you work with this child, with a skilled professional, this will be by keeping appointments, by watching over, maybe they are withdrawing, they are stopping the habits, and you see there's what we call withdrawal syndrome or symptoms, whereby, like if it was bangi, they will start, okay, having the urge, they want to smoke. If it's alcohol, they'll have that thirst for the alcohol. So how do we stand with them? Then we work with you on how, as a family, you are going to support this teenager. But we can cover that on a different day, because it's something that when you walk through with a professional, it will be very helpful for you to work with your teenager, teenage child, or teenagers in the community or in the church. So as we work with them, what happens most of the times is very beneficial to the family, because it is going to help the family to be able even to solve family conflicts. It will bind you together. It will make you be a team. And because of that, it is a cemented relationship. So this young person, as she stops using the substance, she will always feel accountable, and the siblings will feel accountable, the parents will be accountable. So in the process, you form a good bond with the therapist or with the professional who is taking care of that. And if we don't approach it from as a family, um, what happens is can still create issues in the family. disagreements, mental health issues, learning other issues, problems in school, and everything will actually come to a standstill, or there will be a lot of confusion. So the best approach, if we can be able to get the professional, work with the professional as a family with these teenagers. And don't be surprised if you have maybe 4 teenagers or adolescents in the home. You may only get one. Then you will discover this one will say, even my older brother has been doing it. If my sister in college is also on it. So when you do it as a family, you will help all of them, and it helps a lot. And if it has led into an addiction, also there's a way the addiction can be handled. So the second part of handling is the medical professionals' role. Now, with medical professionals, we have several things that happen. When these teenagers are taken to hospital with complaints, whatever it is, a headache, cough, chest pain, you will find that you will notice something, because somehow most of the professionals have at least a clue. They have been oriented, they have been skilled on noticing some of the signs and symptoms that despite the headache, this boy or this girl could be using this or that, or is on a substance. So first and foremost, we use the screening method. We have some screening gadgets that we use whereby you are suspicious. It's just something, actually it's a urine test, or we may use also a blood test. So we make it as a routine. If the medics can make it as a routine, whereby whenever teenagers come to hospital, if the system allows and if the parents allow, system I mean the government should be also involved, the institutions, the schools should be involved, and then the board, the PTA also have to accept for the children when they go to hospitals, they can be screened from these substances. What happens, or the beauty with this is, when they are discovered early, you will know exactly which substance the child has been abusing or is trying on. Then we stop this child from being victimized later when it has become a crisis. So we start working with this child early enough, and they will stop. And because of that also, it will deter them from continuing, because they know once we go back to school, when they do the urine testing, I'm going to be discovered. So it will stop them from trying again the next time. So besides screening, there's that what we call brief intervention. That's if the medics discover this child actually is on drugs, they'll have to bring on board the professional, that's the counseling bit, and then also they may have to talk to this teenager on how to start weaning off from the substance they are using, because sometimes it's not about banging. Sometimes they use the medicines that we prescribe in hospitals for conditions that they will have come with. So the medic will walk through with this teenager, and then we'll have to involve the family and involve the guardians also. So the next thing also for the medical professionals is a referral. If you discover actually this child has been brought to hospital and it has nothing to do with a medical condition, but this, whatever they are presenting with, is a complication of the substance that they're using or the drugs they're using, what you do, you may have to refer this child to the professional counselors and then to the therapists. And should it be leading into an addiction, they may have to be taken into the centers to be managed, or rehab centers. That's now to the extreme, for them to be managed to be able to stop the habit, because it does not come easy. It's not like a temperature which is high and you give a jab and then the temperature comes down. It's a process. So you need to refer to the right people. So the same medical personnel also, as professionals, we do follow-ups. You'll have to make sure that you support this family, you support the school, who have the school where the child goes, and maybe they are the ones who brought this young man to the hospital. Keep on finding out. Tell them to come back after a week, after a month, to find out how this child is doing or this student is doing. And the final thing that the professional medics should do or should always be aware of while prescribing, you'll find we have so many medicines that are used, which if they're abused, they actually become substance of abuse by the youngsters. So while prescribing, if the teenager comes and says, with me, with my cough, with my chest problems, I must be on activated syrup, I must be on a particular syrup, that is a red flag. You should not actually go ahead and prescribe that medicine. Try to give another component that does not have the addictive element in it. So we have to be very careful as medical professionals what we are prescribing to these teenagers. And then the pharmacy, people who are selling medicines, also selling medicine over the counter. I think also there's a law that prohibits that. There are some medicines which must be sold only on prescriptions. So if a teenager comes to buy medicine that you know has the risk of being abused, you don't sell it to this teenager. So always consider giving an alternative medication to any teenager who comes, and you may suspect this teenager may end up actually using this as a way of getting high, as they call it, and eventually end up even with mental illness. So this is a wide topic. Teenagers or adolescents with drug and substance abuse, because as they start off as teenagers, these things spills into adulthood, and eventually it may come to destroy or distract us, because it becomes an addiction at some age, especially when you get in your 20s, 30s, and it may affect your work productivity. It may, as a man and woman, or male, female, husband, wife, may also affect marriages, and also just the family unit. And the process also the church. The church will be affected, because definitely there's no way you are coming to church when you are drunk. There's no way you are coming to church when you are high. Or you may try also only come to church when you are high, because that's the only way you can communicate. So this is a topic which I appreciate. I have covered it in 3 parts, but I don't think I've only touched it. There's a lot about it, and I look forward that we can have more discussions, one-on-one or in group discussions, and see how we can help our community to deal with this animal that has come and affected the whole world, the drugs and substance abuse. Thank you so much. I'm glad I've been able to share with you this, and I look forward to maybe sharing more or being asked more questions, and we'll share more and learn more and understand our teenagers better. Thank you so much. God bless us all.